Hello, guys. Welcome to the channel. My name is Rico, and today I want to talk about the difficulties you, the expat, will experience working remotely in the Philippines. The things I'll be talking about today also apply elsewhere in the world, but we will keep the Philippines and or the rest of Southeast Asia in mind. Stay tuned. I know a lot of people talk about how exciting it is working remotely and the freedom it brings. What I can tell you is that it is not what it appears to be for most expats doing it. They work long hours during the night and sleep during the day. I do understand that working remotely from another country seems like a dream come true for many expats, particularly those seeking a lifestyle change or lower cost of living. Thousands of people can now work for Western companies while residing in tropical or culturally diverse regions. However, beneath this enticing facade lies a number of significant issues that are often left unsaid. For expats, remote work presents several challenges, including time zone differences, irregular work schedules, lower pay, and poorer work life balance. The complex dance with time zones is one of the most pressing and ongoing issues facing distant expats. Setting up a meeting can become a challenging logistical task when clients or coworkers are spread across continents. Being available during main business hours in another part of the world frequently conflicts with the enchanted idea of working on your own schedule. Early morning or late night calls may become the norm rather than the exception, resulting in a fragmented workday. Imagine an expat who works for a company with its headquarters in New York and lives in Mandaue City, Philippines. A normal 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. workday in New York corresponds to a 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. shift in the Philippines due to the 12-hour time difference. The circadian rhythm of the expat may be significantly impacted by this inverted schedule, which could result in persistent weariness, lack of sleep, and a lower quality of life. Their working hours are frequently out of sync, which can limit their social interactions with the local community. Asynchronous communication windows become smaller and less regular. It also gets harder to keep up relationships with friends and family back home. Additionally, it might be mentally taxing to continuously circulate time differences and modify your schedule. Stress and anxiety might be brought on by feeling constantly out of sync with the working world or missing an important meeting because of a mistake. The basic problem of having to work at odd hours is not resolved by tools and software, even though they can help with time zone management. Ironically, the flexibility offered by remote work can sometimes become a constraint, binding the expat to a schedule set by different time zones. The effects go beyond individual well being. Communication lags might hinder collaboration with teams located in various time zones. Simple inquiries could take a whole day to respond to, which would slow down the progress of the project and possibly cause annoyance on both sides. Significant time disparities make it difficult, if not impossible, to reproduce the impromptu brainstorming sessions or brief check ins that promote team cohesion in a traditional office setting. For expats juggling different time zones, the nature of remote work can make it difficult to distinguish between business and personal life. Evenings and weekends can easily become dominated by the need to be available for calls or to meet deadlines that fall on a different work week. For a distant expat trying to close the time gap, what could be regarded as overtime in a traditional office setting can become the norm. This problem may be exacerbated by the expectation of continuous connectivity fostered by widely accessible communication devices. Because an expat works remotely, colleagues may believe that they are more adaptable and always available. Outside of scheduled working hours, this may result in a deluge of messages and requests, making it challenging to unplug and refuel. It may also be more difficult to mentally disconnect from work when there is no physical divide between the living area and the office. Consistent overtime and late nights can have a negative cumulative impact on an expat's health and well being. Burnout becomes a serious issue when it manifests as fatigue, cynicism, and diminished professional efficacy. The pressures of an imbalanced work schedule might undermine the exact motivations that may have drawn someone to expat life to begin with, such as pursuing personal hobbies or learning about a new culture. When work takes up an excessive amount of time and leaves little time for social interaction or personal interests, the loneliness that can occasionally come with being an expat might be worsened. Furthermore, national labor laws and overtime requirements can differ greatly. When working for a Western firm while living abroad, an expat may not be given the same rights as they would in their home country in relation to working hours and overtime compensation. They may be expected to work long hours without receiving proper pay or acknowledgement as a result, which could increase feelings of exploitation and resentment. One of the key reasons why many expats want to work remotely from a country with a lower cost of living is to stress their Western pay further. However, there is a growing trend in business to base an employee's pay on where they work, which leads to a far lower salary than what they would get for the same job in a Western country. This practice, commonly known as location arbitrage, might seriously jeopardize the general happiness and financial stability of remote expats. While the cost of living might be lower in their chosen location, a substantial pay cut can negate these benefits. In their home countries, expats may still have debts, mortgages, and family support obligations. It may be challenging to fulfill these commitments or save for the future on a lower salary. Additionally, feeling undervalued and less motivated can result from believing that you are getting paid less for doing the same work. The argument that the market rate for a particular task is cheaper in the expat's home country is sometimes used to support location based pay adjustments. However, this argument frequently ignores the fact that, regardless of their physical location, an expat's abilities, experience, and worth to the firm remain the same. This disparity has the potential to undermine confidence between the employer and employee and foster feelings of unfairness. This problem may be made worse by the opaqueness of compensation scales and the negotiating process. Without knowing exactly how this compensation is decided, expats may feel under pressure to accept lower wages in exchange for the chance to live and work remotely. They may feel exposed and taken advantage of as a result of this power disparity. Reductions in compensation may potentially have important long term effects. It may affect an expat's capacity to make investments in their professional and personal growth, to travel and take in their new environment, or to establish a stable financial future. The initial thrill of living abroad may eventually give way to financial strain and a sense of undervaluation. While working remotely gives you the flexibility to live anywhere, it can also make you feel lonely, especially for expats who are already navigating the challenges of living in a new and unfamiliar environment. A sense of alienation from the team and the work environment may result from the lack of regular face to face interactions with coworkers. The remote expat's life frequently lacks impromptu discussions, water cooler banter, and shared office experiences that promote friendship and a feeling of community. It takes effort and time to establish a social network in a new country, particularly the Philippines. There may be less opportunities to socialize and become involved in the community when the job requires lengthy or unusual hours. When coping with the additional strains of remote work and expat life, this can result in feelings of loneliness and a lack of social support, which can be especially difficult. Isolation might also result from a reliance on digital communication. Although video conversations and messaging applications facilitate virtual communication, they can lack the subtleties and emotional resonance of face to face interactions. Misunderstandings can arise more easily, and the feeling of being truly connected to colleagues can diminish over time. For expats who have moved with spouses or families, the challenges of remote work and isolation can also impact their relationships. Tension and conflict might arise in their personal life as a result of the stress of juggling time zones, staying up late, and receiving lower income. The feeling of loneliness may be exacerbated by spouses' own difficulties adjusting to a new country and creating their own social networks. It can also be challenging to set up appropriate boundaries and safeguard personal time when work and personal life are not clearly separated. Being on call all the time might take away from the time and effort required to build relationships and participate in social activities, which worsens feelings of loneliness. Beyond the usual obstacles of remote work, working remotely as an expat has a distinct set of difficulties. A challenging and occasionally unsustainable experience can be produced by the difficulties of juggling different time zones, the pressures of working late and possibly overtime, the financial reality of lower compensation, and the possibility of social isolation. Despite the continued appeal of geographic independence, you must recognize and resolve these challenges before relocation. In your new location, make sure you have proactive time management, boundary setting, and social connection methods. It is essential for reducing the difficulties associated with working remotely. A more fulfilling and long lasting expat experience can be achieved by looking for local communities, using co working spaces to fight loneliness, and placing a higher priority on self care. In the end, Remote work success depends on a deeper comprehension of the difficulties they encounter and a dedication on the part of both you and your employer to establish a more just and encouraging workplace. Only then can the potential for both professional and personal fulfillment that comes with having a globally linked workforce materialize. All right, guys, that is all for today's show. If you have any questions or comments, please comment down below. Thank you all for watching. Until next time, have a good day.